Last week, I had the honor of sharing what I thought was a special edition of the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week that I entitled 50 Years and Still Kicking. And it was my announcement and celebration of celebrating 50 years of training in the martial arts. And I wanted to start this Facebook Live by saying thank you to everyone that just provided some great feedback and wonderful words of encouragement and congratulations. There was a second group of people, however, that mistakenly read the title, and I guess I could have been a little clear on this, but began wishing me a happy 50th birthday. So given the fact that I turned 60 in February, I guess I take that as a compliment. But be that as it may, I want to say thank you to everyone for all the kind words. But one of the things I've realized and what I want to speak about today is getting anywhere and practicing anything for 50 years or more. It basically is almost always steeped in the fact that we keep getting back to basics. It's the basics that keep us going. It's the basics, the mastery of those basics that provide us the road to mastery. Just like we say in martial arts, is that a black belt is nothing more than the master of the basics. Hi, I'm Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching with your Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week, the basics. It was one of the things that was really drilled into me from a very early age when I began martial art training at the age of 10. I honored him last week, but my first instructor, Terry McMickle, I distinctly remember him talking about the power of practicing our basic martial art techniques. In fact, what he equated it to is if you don't have strong basics, it's like building your house on sand. And the first time you come up against inclement weather and the storm comes, your house isn't going to be stable. So basics are what we build our life and our success on. And today I'm not going to talk about martial art basics, but I'm going to be talking about basics in life and basics that we can use to move our lives, our relationships, and our businesses ahead. You know, in his book, Raising Your Game, Alan Stein Jr. talks about his experience he had with the Los Angeles Lakers back in the Kobe Bryant era. And he was just beginning to work with the team, and he wanted to get a better idea of what made Kobe Bryant tick. And at that time, Kobe was considered the greatest player on the planet. And Stein wanted to understand how he got to that level. So he went to him one day and he said, "Hey, Kobe, I'd love to go see you work out." And Kobe says, "Great, meet me at 4:30. Well, Stein knew that day the team had a meeting at 4 o'clock. So he said, you know, that's not going to work. You got a team meeting at 4. How can you have a workout at 4:30? And then Kobe smiled and said, 4:30 a.m. tomorrow. So Stein, you know, blurry-eyed, met him in the gym at 4:30. And for 45 minutes, all he saw Kobe do was practice basic footwork, basic dribbling, basic shooting skills. And at the end of the workout, he came up to him and he said, I can't believe what I've seen. I'm seeing the greatest player on the planet, and all you worked on was basics. And Bryant smiled at him and he said, well, how do you think I got to be the greatest player on the planet? I never get bored of the basics. I never get bored of the basics. And martial art legend Bruce Lee also said, he said something to the extent of, fear not the man who practices 10,000 kicks one time. Fear the man who practices one kick 10,000 times. So it's about that falling in love with the basics. So what I want to share with you now, this is going to be the first of a two-part series where I identify 6 areas where we can really focus on in terms of practicing basic strategies, tactics, and behaviors in our lives to get us the greatest amount of success. And the first one is this. It's rest. Practicing getting proper rest and recovery. Now, this to me is probably one of the most difficult ones to embrace. But one of the things I've learned throughout all my years is that we are, first of all, a sleep-deprived and rest-deprived society. You know, we get honor badges for people that are constantly on the go. And it's almost like you get a merit badge if you can survive on 4 hours of sleep a night. But over time, what happens is we begin to regress in our ability to perform at a high level if we're not getting adequate rest. You know, back 23 years ago, I was getting ready to test for my 6th degree black belt at that time. And I was feeling really run down. I'd been really overtraining. And I went to my good friend, the late Gil Greiner, and I was telling him about how I was feeling physically. And he did all of his diagnostics on me. And then he said, you know, Chris, I have to tell you, You are getting ready for a major injury. You are way overtraining. And he basically was asking me to pull way back on what I was doing. Well, I was super resistant until he finally looked at me in the eye and he said, Chris, you have to remember something. Rest is part of your training. Rest is part of your training. And it totally changed my mindset on it. So my question for you is, are you getting adequate rest and recovery? Are you taking care of yourself so you can show up the best you can be? Number 2, nutrition. I know that sometimes this can be a touchy subject with people. And in fact, in training people for years in health and wellness, and I'd ask them about their diet and nutrition, it was almost like I was talking about their sex life. They were very sensitive about that. But one of the things I've really come to know is that, particularly as I've aged, is that being able to keep my nutrition at the top of its game is really going to help me perform at the highest level I can. Several years ago, I was meeting with a friend, and he's a 25-year personal trainer, and he and I were both asked to be addressing a men's group on the idea of health and wellness. And of course, both he and I had this background in exercise, and as we were preparing for the talk in the minutes beforehand, he and I both looked at each other, and I can't remember who said it first, but he said, I know we both like working out and we teach it all the time, but it's really all about nutrition. And it's really true. So what are the things you're putting in your body, and are you conscious about it? Are you practicing eating lean proteins and vegetables and fruits and getting plenty of hydration, plenty of water? Are you avoiding sugar? Are you moderate with alcohol and things of that nature? Are you really taking care of yourself nutritionally? And then the number three basic practice that I want to share is called movement. Now, I want to make a very clear distinction here. I didn't say exercise. Exercise can sometimes be a dirty word for people. I'm talking about movement. I'm talking about being able to, on a regular basis, move your body, because that's what they were designed to do. You may have already heard there are areas in the world called blue zones. These are areas in the world where people routinely live into their 100s. And there's a lot of things that contribute to that. They have a really good diet. They're very much focused on community. They have a life purpose, but what they do each and every day is they move. They're squatting, they're working in their garden, they're walking from one place to the other. And in our society, by and large, we don't do that. So what types of movements can you integrate into your everyday daily practices that keep your body sharp, and then as a result of that, also keep your mind sharp? So there you have it, my friends. There are my 3 basic practices that I wanted to share today. And just as a review, it's number 1 is rest. Are you getting adequate rest? Number 2, how's your nutrition? And number 3, are you moving daily on a regular basis? Next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have another 3 topics that I'm going to be sharing with you. So anyway, this has been Chris Natzke with Black Belt Leadership Speaking and Coaching. Keep focusing on your basics, and we'll see you next time on the Mind of a Champion Tip of the Week.